welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Dr. Noureel Roubini. We have a very unique panel here because on one side we've got a whole lot of people who are trying to find solutions to the roadblocks they're facing. And on the other hand, we have an economist, a star economist, who tends to see the roadblocks ahead of everyone. On the show today, well, we've got top CEOs, bankers, and of course, Dr. Noureel Roubini. But we will, of course, start off by asking him a question, which is whether everyone today has started thinking that it's time for us to all the time second guess the next big trouble. Is that our new psychology?
There is a little bit of that psychology in the sense that we've gone through so much economic and financial turmoil in the last couple of years, both in US and Europe, and it spilled over a little bit also to emerging markets, that people are worried about it. Even investors are now more optimistic. They're worried about the next downside risk. So you have to be balanced. You have to see what are the opportunities on the upside. You have to also to worry about what could go wrong. So a balanced view is probably appropriate.
Right, but there was a time when everybody used to talk about, okay, which is the next big opportunity? Which is the next big boom? Today we all keep thinking of which is the next big trough? What could go bust next? So in that sense, are we constantly looking out for the worse off than the better off?
I would say that in the United States, in Europe, in Japan, there's more concern about the risk and vulnerability. But when I visit countries like India, like China, rest of Asia, Brazil, and even other parts of emerging markets, there is more of a sense that things are going better and better, and the opportunities are greater than the downside risks as well.
And where would you put India on the confidence map in the so-called economic recovery today?
I would say it's very high up there, together with, I would say, China, Brazil, and some of the other strong performing emerging markets.
Okay, let's actually bring in the rest of our guests here. Chanda, let me start with you. How do you read into the recovery based on what Dr. Roubini sees here?
Well, as far as India is concerned, I'm actually looking for the next big opportunity. And I'm a great believer that we are seeing the next big driver of growth coming. And what I mean here is that, the last few years, our growth has been really moving on the basis of domestic consumption. This is an advantage that will continue to stay with us for decades. But at the same time, now I'm seeing the next driver of growth, which is investments. And there is a lot of investments that is being planned both on the manufacturing side and on the infrastructure side. Right. And that is going to create a further multiplier effect and take our GDP growth to much higher levels.
Investments that had been pending or slowed down are actually beginning to happen.
That's right.
Sanjay, what do you think is going to be the whole issue of where we turn around from being an economy that was slowing and is now believing that we are actually somewhat euphoric about this economic recovery? Where is that turning point? We're still far?
I think it sort of feels near, but if you analyze a little bit, I'm not really sure where that point is to get sustainable double-digit growth rate. I don't know where that point is, but just to evidence the fact that things have turned around. You look at IP numbers for the last few quarters, you look at auto cement dispatches, you look at non-oil imports, so all those are in the right direction. But the issue that I have, or at least I think that we have, is that structurally we really haven't unlocked the capital which is there in the country. And the reason is the fisc being what it is, it does take away a lot of private savings. Okay. So if you want to really tackle and have a sustainable model, you need the supply side to build out, which really is infrastructure and which we all have talked about quite a bit. And I don't think that is imminently financeable with India's own savings in the face of a large fisc. And as you're sort of pulling back the fiscal and monetary stimulus, which you have to, in a way, I'm really not sure how much real foundation you have to growth. Okay. So I'm a little concerned about when that turning point is, but we have turned. But how sustainable it is, I'm not really sure.
And how strong is that foundation?
That's
Dr.
right.
Roubini, what do you feel? His concerns are appropriate at this stage?
They're certainly appropriate in the following sense. Everybody agrees that India has to do much more investment, private, public, combination of private, public, to increase on the supply side the capacity to produce. Demand is strong, but there have been supply side constraints. But if the savings rate of India remains low, and certainly some of it is low because there are these savings of the public sector, large budget deficit. So on one side, that crowds out essential resources could go to private investment or even public one. On the other side, if that booming investment were to occur and overall national savings remain low, then the external deficit of the country, the current account, that is the difference between national savings and investment, will widen further.
Sure.
And the country still has a large current account deficit. And the risk is that too wide current account deficit might be somehow risky because there are from time to time shocks to international capital flows. We saw it during the financial crisis when there was a bit of a liquidity squeeze, even in the case of India.
Right.
So in some sense, the right way to increase investment is to have also domestic saving rising at the same time so that you rely less on fickle foreign flows, and that implies a lower budget deficit.
Okay, we're talking about a stronger real economy. If that is in place, or if the foundations are strong enough, then maybe we will have a better story. And one person who's all through this recession been more positive about the rural story, the real India, the one that's still waiting to tap that opportunity, is Adi Godrej. Mr. Godrej, in many ways, we did not go through a recession. We might have slowed down, and that was always your thinking. What will you tell Dr. Roubini about your experiences dealing with this rural opportunity?
Well, I think we slowed down. I think the worst quarter we had was that October-December 2008 quarter, post the global banking crisis. Indian banks' liquidity was also affected at that period of time. And I think our growth rate in that quarter was 5 point something. So that was perhaps the quarter which was where India was worst affected. Thereafter, we have accelerated in growth. And consumer businesses have continued to do very well in India throughout the global crisis. The acceleration in growth now is very good to my mind. Demand is very strong. I think India, to my mind, India is going to have a 10% growth rate over the next decade. And I feel the major driver will be the goods and services tax. To my mind, it will add 1.5 to 2 percentage points to India's growth. The government is in a position to take important reform decisions now based on the political dynamics of the government. All in all, it will add to a lot. Chanda was talking about the next growth driver. To my mind, the big growth driver over the next 10 years is going to be affordable housing. A lot of things are coming into place. It's a huge potential business for India.
Driving all of it to the consumer as such.
The consumer demand is what has been driving India's growth.
Sure.
And if investment also picks up together, then we have a win-win situation for a very rapid growth.
Win-win situation, Dr. Roubini? Would it be?
Would be. Certainly one of the strengths of India compared to China is that consumption is a much larger fraction of GDP. In China, the model of growth has been based mostly on export-led growth and increasing capacity for exportable, and they have a harder time to switch towards domestic private consumption demand.
But that doesn't speak well for the lack of infrastructure that India might see vis-a-vis China, for example.
Yeah, and that's the point that's being made, that having a large domestic consumption market is important, but then you have to build on that strength by investing in much more infrastructure to increase the productive capacity of the economy,
right,
and having a growth that's sustained both on the consumption side and on the investment side.
Mr. M.V. Nair, now we're going to talk about the stimulus that we all have, sort of experienced in the last 12 to 18 months. It's obviously on its way out, and in India we've already seen the announcements to that effect. Do you think the impact